Hey everyone, Magnus here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a lo-fi production from start to finish. It's a song called Sunset Drive that I released with an independent record label. We're going to take a look at the instruments, the drums and the samples that we used, the bass, the synths and some of the presets that I used as well. By the way, I made a sample pack with all the samples and presets used in the song. I'll leave a link below so you can check out the sample pack. Without further ado, let's take a look at the beat. So let's take a look at the instruments first. So the way the song started out was only with these acoustic plugs that I did on my acoustic guitar back here. Let's take a listen. And then we added Rhodes to the mix. That Rhodes sound is really nice. It's actually a Serum preset that it's also in the sample pack if you use Serum. And then we added the melody that I came up with. This melody actually goes through the song. It's in the intro, it's in the break, it's the same melody. And the acoustic guitar melody in the first verse, it's also pretty much the same. So it's very similar. And then the chorus melody is a bit different. And then we added the synth. Without the synth, this song wouldn't be nearly as good as it turned out to be, because the synth is just so good and it has to be there for the song to really work out, in my opinion. Let's listen to the synth that I used. Let's listen to it in the context of the song. So it's some sort of string synth that I used. It's from Output. It's this analog brass and winds. You can create amazing sounds with that plugin. Outlook is pretty expensive, but I've used this plugin a lot in my productions. I'm not gonna load it up because it takes forever. It's a heavy plugin, and as you can tell in this project, I've actually stamped out a lot of the sounds because they take too much space in the mix. But anyway, here's the intro, and then obviously we need to have the vinyl, and then the bird sound made all the difference in my opinion. And then let's listen to from here on out, where I'm using this cassette tape sound. Like you're putting a cassette in your, well, like 30 years ago or 25 to 30 years ago, there used to be tapes used. Some are not familiar with it today. I can still remember using tapes and recording stuff on tapes and all that stuff. So let's listen to it. It really breaks up the intro and pushes us into the actual song. I wanted to have that cassette sound, and originally I put it in front over here, but I felt it was more cool to just break up the song, put the cassette song like you're just pressing play. So like that intro part came from somewhere else, and then the song starts. That was the idea. So we'll play some sort of intro really slow, then all of a sudden we'll have a beat going on after the cassette sound. So it went like this. Let's do it again. We're gonna talk over it. So the acoustic guitar melody over here is also from my acoustic guitar over here that I played in. Let's listen to it. I really like this sound. The whole idea is just make it sound like you're playing on an old guitar. It's kind of rough. Make the sound very old school, lo-fi, basically, in my opinion at least. This is what it sounded without any effects on it. So extremely boring, nothing to it. When I played the melody in, I made sure to move the strings around a lot to get the kind of rough feel. And that's what you'll hear also in the song. If you listen closely, I've got a CL76 compressor on this, and we've EQ'd it, pretty simple EQ. We've got multiband, and we've got some distortion, Saturn. This is all from FabFilter. I love FabFilter. And then we've got this tape sound that I use all the time. Really makes all the difference, makes the guitar a lot more old school and gives that kind of distortion feel. And then we've got pitch correction. I'm just using the Logic stock pitch correction, and I'll just mess around with the response and detune. Looks like I've put -6. And then we've got Valhalla Room. I use vintage Valhalla reverb more often than Room, but for some scenarios, the Valhalla Room reverb is really nice. It's like $50 or something, the plugin. Highly recommended. And then we probably have some automation going on. Or do we have high cut frequency? Oh, actually we don't have automation on. But I might have actually bounced this stem out and then done something to it before I moved it here. I'm not exactly sure. It's a few months since I did this song. So let's listen to the acoustic guitar with all the effects on. Yeah, anyway, I really like that sound. So let's listen from here on out and into the chorus, and we'll take a look at that. So that's the chorus melody. The difference between those two, production-wise, is that this melody, the chorus melody, let's say, it has a double effect. So it goes into separate speaker or separate ear, left and right, whereas the verse melody is in the middle. So once we switch from here to there, you might not realize it, but we're in the middle, and then we pan it left and right, and then we put the piano melody in the middle, and then we have the guitars left and right. So to put it left and right, all I really did is use this H delay by Waves. You can use a bunch of plugins for this. So I actually put a stereo delay on the melody, which brought it into panning left to right. In the middle. So that's pretty much all I did, and makes a lot of difference in my opinion. And then we're adding violins to the chorus. This is just from Contact, String and Sample. This is over here somewhere. Comes with the native instruments package. I don't have specific strings, I just use the native instruments. So let's check out the bass before we move on to the actual beat and the drum samples. Let's listen real quick. So the bass has mostly been processed in another session that I stamped out to use in this session. But basically I used Serum and I used a preset that I manipulated a little bit myself. The preset is actually in the sample pack. If you have Serum, then you can use that. And then I've used the compressor and all that stuff in another session, but I've got a lot of EQ on over here to try to tame the low end. For this particular track, I used 4 or 5 EQs, maybe because I couldn't tame it well enough, but this EQ is that I'm basically taking all the sides away and just leaving the low end in the middle, that's same. So there's no bass going on in the sides, and it's mainly in the middle. So I do this sometime just to kind of isolate the bass, keep it in the middle so it doesn't get too spread out and heavy. So let's listen to the actual drums and beat by itself and see what we did there. Let's listen to it with the bass as well, so we can show you all together. The bass is actually moving the song a lot. I spent a lot of time on the bass, so if we listen to the bass, it's actually moving with the guitar. Like here, for example. The hats of the beat are really sticking out. I might have made them just a little bit too high in the mix afterwards, thinking about it, and they are totally offbeat, which is also, I mean, most of this stuff is a little bit offbeat, but the hats are all over the place to make the beat kind of jumpy sounding. So let's listen to it. But it really gives it that lo-fi feel to be offbeat, and you know. So we've got the kick. By the way, all of these samples are in the sample pack. Also, what I think is crucial, and I hear it missing in a lot of tracks, is the shakers. The shakers really help move the track along. So sometimes when there's a part that's coming in and you feel like it's it might sound a little too slow, that's where the shakers come in. So I use shakers a lot. It just moves the song a lot, but obviously it depends on the production. So if we listen to the song without the shakers, so sometimes crucial to have those shakers. The snare is actually 4 samples in one, but you could use some of them on their own. But if you look at the volume of all of them, it's really low, so it comes out as a 1. Sometimes I might have it like this and the others just to fill in, but for this particular song we used all 4 as 1. So let's listen to the snare on its own. So we've got a few different samples going on. We've got this sample, and then we've got a higher hat, a little bit higher. So it's like a scratch hat. And then we've got the, I call it the tree hat. It sounds like you're hitting a tree. And then we've got a lo-fi snare. So we've taken out a lot of the high end. Sounds like it's underwater. And then all together, you've got a nice snare. And this particular way I use a lot of the time, but I also have all of these stemmed out as one, and I just use it as a whole one sample instead of using 4 of them. But sometimes I like to have control of the snare, so I'll use 4 of them together and mess with them. I wanted to take a quick look at the breakdown of the song, but I think it turned out pretty well. Let's listen to it real quick and then we'll go over it. Okay, so we've got this reverse simple into the breakdown, and then we have this brush. I really like this brush. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to it in the contest. So if we didn't have that brush, this is what it would sound like. In the context of the song, it does a lot. Pretty much everything I'm trying to do is like with the bass, with the beat and everything, I'm just trying to get the song moving. I'm getting some parts to move, so you start nodding along. That's why the bass is not just whole notes, it's moving all over. We've got the brush. I mean, it's not an interesting sound per se, but it moves the song. So that's pretty much the whole idea with like let's say like the break part. Having no brush over here is kind of boring. Adds a little texture to the song. And then we added underwater snares. Basically same snare, but we put it underwater. That's what I call it, underwater, where we use high frequency EQ, and then we've got the reverb, Valhalla Vintage reverb on all of the snare samples, and then it comes out like that. So helps out make the break part a little bit more interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll leave a link to the sample pack below. You can check it out if you like. I'll also leave a link to the whole song if you'd like to check out the whole song. If you have any specific topics or ideas for another video for me to cover, leave it in the comments below, or if you have any questions. I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and like this video. Until next time, peace out.